This video I'm going to play straight after I've introduced it has a lot of Neville Chamberlain about it. This is obviously clueless Keir waffling on about how he's going to recognise the state of Palestine. And just before you watch the short clip, and I'll comment on it afterwards, but just bear this in mind that in October 2023, Hamas terrorists broke into Israel, massacred at least 1,200 people, videoed it, carried out some of the most heinous and disgusting acts against men, women, and children. That Hamas is every bit as bad as Al Qaeda, ISIS, Al Shabaab, Boko Haram, Al Qaeda in Africa, whatever they call it. All of these Islamist groups have the same ideology and do exactly the same things. And the frightening thing is that Hamas is very popular among conservative, fundamentalist, and extremist Muslims in the United Kingdom. Sadly, that is just a fact. And what's happening in this video is Keir Starmer is playing to that base. He knows that he's threatened from the far left and the Islamist flank of his party, and he knows that they can deliver, maybe not a majority, but certainly a lot more MPs at the next general election than they would get if they don't have the block vote of radical Islam. So we in the UK are in a frightening position. Watch the video, and then we'll have a talk about what's in the video after I've finished it. But that's the context. Keir Starmer's not doing this because he's really that concerned about Gaza. He's not. He's not doing this because he's concerned about Israel. He's not, even though his wife is Jewish. He's not doing it for any of those reasons. And I know from talking to my Jewish friends, I've got a lot of Jewish friends in the United Kingdom, and a lot of them are talking about leaving. And I find that a shameful thing, not on them, but on the British establishment, the British government, the British police, the British security services, that Jewish people in the United Kingdom do not feel safe anymore. They compare the United Kingdom in the 21st century to Nazi Germany in the 1930s, and not because of a few nutty right-wing throwback Nazis, the handful of them that there are. No, because of Islamists, because of Islamic extremism, and because there are probably close to 10 million Muslims in this country. And if only 100,000 of them are extremist and are willing to carry out acts of horrendous violence, that gives everybody good cause to be worried, and particularly Jewish people, because we know that they are targeted. We know that Islamists associate them with Israel and will target them. So have a look at the video, and then we'll have a chat about it afterwards.
I've always said that we will recognise a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act. So today, as part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the state of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a two-state solution. And this includes allowing the UN to restart the supply of aid and making clear that there will be no annexations in the West Bank.
If I was Netanyahu, I would be asking the question with friends like that, who needs enemies? Britain has been an ally of Israel for a long time. They've shared intelligence, and Israel has been extremely helpful to the UK, sharing intelligence about Islamist threats, terrorist threats, and general geopolitical information about what's happening in the Middle East, that Britain may well have gaps in our intelligence in those areas. So Israel has been a friend to the United Kingdom. Yes, there's been bumps in the road when you look at what happened in the 1940s as the British mandate was coming to an end. But on the whole, Israel and the United Kingdom have seen eye to eye and have stood together. And this is a massive departure. And Keir Starmer talking about a sovereign Palestinian state, talking about a two-state solution. What Keir Starmer has not realised is that the plan for a two-state solution has disappeared in the rearview mirror of Hamas and the Israelis. They're not going to stop. Hamas are not going to stop until they drive every last Israeli into the sea. The Israelis cannot stop until they have fully and completely defeated Hamas. But again, I go back to the point. This is politicking by Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer has basically signed off on a Hamas run Palestinian state side by side with Israel. How is that ever going to work when Hamas's stated aim, time and time again, in all their founding charters and documents, is to destroy the state of Israel? They want to see, when they say from the river to the sea, they want to see all the Israeli Jews in the sea. That's what they want. And actually they want worse than that. But we'll not go into that. Why should Netanyahu listen to Keir Starmer? Why should anybody listen to Keir Starmer? But the frightening thing is that Starmer is doing this completely cynically. He doesn't have skin in the game in this. He's not going to have his son going into the Gaza Strip in 2 years' time to fight for the IDF. He's not going to have a bomb exploding on a bus in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv in 2 years' time if that nest of vipers is allowed to survive. And this is where the rub comes. He's doing it purely for domestic politics. And why does that affect us? Why am I even making a video about this? Well, let me tell you now, this is completely connected with what's happening with the Islamophobia definition that Angela Rayner and Keir Starmer seem so keen on. It's so closely connected because it does exactly the same thing. It makes the good look bad and the bad look good. The whole idea of Islamophobia is a completely fake and fraudulent idea. How can you have a phobia against an ideology? You can have a very rational fear against an ideology. I would be afraid of, I was going to say communists taking over the UK. The communists have taken over the UK, and I am afraid of it. But I'd be afraid of the SS, the Gestapo, the Nazi Party taking over the United Kingdom. That would fill me full of a little bit of dread. I am very worried about communists and globalists continuing to rule our country. There needs to be a massive change in that. We need a good right wing conservative, genuinely small c conservative, because the Tory party aren't conservative. We need a genuinely small c conservative party to come in and take power. And I think Advance UK is the answer to that question. But I am very, very worried about Islamists in the UK, both violent and non-violent extremists. Remember, they used to talk about that? They used to talk about non-violent extremism. Well, these are the Muslim Brotherhood types. These are the Jamaati Islami types. These are the types that are taking over large chunks of government, large chunks of policing, large chunks of the civil service. And that's what needs to be pushed back against. And Starmer's never going to do it because Starmer's one of them. Starmer believes in what they believe. No, he's not a Muslim, but he believes that Britain and the British state, and especially the British working class people, are just tools for him to get what he wants with his globalist agenda, with his globalist and socialist agenda. International socialism, they used to call it. It's still there. Islamism is still there. And what is Islamism? It is a fundamental, extreme understanding of the Quran, the Hadith, and the life of the Prophet. That's what it is. That's what Islamism is. And there's a lot of it. Over 50% of the mosques in the UK are Deobandi. Deobandi, Salafi, and Maududi inspired an Islamic movement. So that means over 50% of the mosques in the UK are extreme. And Keir Starmer's aware of that. He's not a stupid man. Well, he probably is, but he's not that stupid. And he knows that he needs the Muslim vote. So watch the repression that's going to come against people like me, people like Tommy Robinson, and everybody else that is speaking out against the Islamization of the UK. Just watch it come at us in wave after wave after wave. Watch us get shadow banned. Watch us get arrested for what goes on social media. Just wait and see what happens, because it's part of the plan. And the plan is to Islamize the United Kingdom so that our culture, our religious beliefs, our faith, are completely marginalized and destroyed. So when Keir's talking about a Palestinian state, he's just become an apologist for Hamas, the butchers of the 7th of October. So well done, Keir. I'm sure your wife will be pleased with you once again for doing such an honourable thing and trying to destroy the state of Israel. See you all soon.